A single Hermès Birkin bag requires one artisan working 18 consecutive hours using techniques unchanged since 1867, yet this explains only a fraction of why clients willingly wait years and invest $20,000 for the privilege of ownership. The mathematics behind ultra-premium pricing reveals a universe where traditional business logic dissolves, replaced by principles of rarity, heritage, and craftsmanship so exceptional that conventional manufacturing cannot replicate the results. Today we decode the economics and artistry justifying five-figure price tags, exploring brands where cost reflects genuine value rather than marketing manipulation. The journey into extreme luxury begins with understanding that these prices do not emerge from greed but from fundamental realities of small-scale production, rare materials, and expertise requiring decades to develop. A Patek Philippe Grand Complication contains over 700 individual components, each requiring hand finishing by master watchmakers who spent 15 years learning their craft. The assembly alone demands 9 months of focused work by specialists whose salary reflects their irreplaceable skill and knowledge. When you calculate the true cost of labor at this level, combined with materials like solid platinum cases and sapphire crystals, the $40,000 price begins appearing rational rather than excessive. The brand produces only 60,000 watches annually despite demand exceeding supply tenfold, maintaining quality standards that prevent scaling production. Loro Piana represents another fascinating case study. Their baby cashmere comes from the first shearing of Mongolian goats under 12 months old. Each animal yields only 30 grams of usable fiber, requiring the combing of 6 goats to produce enough material for one single sweater. The herders work in remote highlands, maintaining relationships with Loro Piana spanning generations, receiving premium payments that support traditional nomadic lifestyles. The fiber then travels to Italian mills where it undergoes 32 separate processes before becoming fabric, each step monitored for quality and consistency. A resulting sweater weighing just 300 grams costs $3,000, yet will last decades with proper care while providing unmatched softness and warmth. If you appreciate understanding the real craftsmanship and heritage behind extraordinary luxury prices, consider subscribing and activating the notification bell to support our deep explorations into the world's most exceptional brands and their justified valuations. The leather goods category demonstrates perhaps the clearest value proposition for extreme pricing when you understand material sourcing and construction techniques. Hermès sources hides from specific farms where animals receive exceptional care, producing leather with minimal imperfections and superior grain structure. A single crocodile skin suitable for handbag production costs $10,000 before any labor begins, representing years of reptile husbandry in specialized facilities. The tanning process takes 18 months using vegetable methods that preserve the leather's natural characteristics while ensuring it ages beautifully rather than deteriorating. John Lobb creates bespoke shoes through a process beginning with creating wooden lasts carved specifically for each client's feet, capturing every unique contour and dimension. These lasts cost $2,000 to produce yet enable perfect fit impossible with standard sizing, preventing the discomfort and foot damage caused by poorly fitting footwear. The construction requires 8 artisans each specializing in specific aspects, from pattern cutting to sole stitching to final burnishing. A single pair demands 80 hours of hand work using techniques refined over centuries, resulting in shoes that can be resold indefinitely and improve with decades of wear. The $5,000 price reflects the true value of this craftsmanship, actually representing reasonable compensation when divided across the shoe's potential 30-year lifespan. Bugatti automobiles exemplify engineering excellence, justifying multi-million-dollar prices through innovations impossible at mainstream production scales. The Chiron features an 8-liter W16 engine with 4 turbochargers, producing 1,500 horsepower while maintaining drivability in city traffic. Each engine requires 6 months to assemble and test, built by hand by a team of 20 specialists working in a climate-controlled facility. The carbon fiber monocoque chassis involves proprietary materials and construction techniques that cost $15 million to develop for this single model. Only 70 vehicles will ever be produced, meaning development costs must be recovered across an impossibly small production run. The $3 million price actually represents a loss leader, with Bugatti barely breaking even after accounting for development, materials, and the artisan labor involved. Graph Diamonds operates differently. Their prices reflect the rarity of truly exceptional gemstones rather than construction costs. The company purchases only the top 1% of diamonds produced globally, stones exhibiting perfect color, clarity, and cut under the most rigorous grading standards. A 5-carat D flawless diamond might cost $1 million, yet only 3 such stones appear on the market annually from all mines worldwide. The cutting process for exceptional stones involves months of analysis, computer modeling, and handwork by master cutters whose decisions make the difference between a valuable gem and an extraordinary one. Graph employs specialists who spent 40 years perfecting their ability to analyze crystal structure and determine optimal facet placement for maximum brilliance. The settings use platinum or 18-karat gold in substantial quantities, with prongs and galleries constructed for both security and beauty. A completed diamond necklace costing $2 million contains perhaps $800,000 in materials, $400,000 in labor, and the remainder covers design, quality control, and the expertise required to source these extraordinary stones. Steinway & Sons grand pianos justify their $180,000 prices through construction techniques unchanged since 1883. Each piano requires 12 months to build, using aged spruce soundboards that spent years drying in controlled conditions before becoming suitable for use. The rim construction involves bending 18 layers of hard rock maple in a single day, creating the distinctive curved shape while maintaining structural integrity that will last centuries. Over 12,000 individual parts get assembled entirely by hand, from the 88 action mechanisms to the 230 strings tensioned at 40,000 pounds of collective pressure. The voicing technician spends weeks regulating hammers, ensuring even tone across the entire keyboard, work requiring golden ears and decades of experience. Professional pianists can immediately distinguish a Steinway from competitors, the sound quality and responsive action reflecting this extraordinary construction investment. Bespoke tailoring from Savile Row houses like Huntsman demonstrates value impossible to capture through ready-to-wear manufacturing. A suit begins with 2-hour measurement sessions capturing not just dimensions but posture quirks, shoulder slopes, and individual body asymmetries. The pattern gets cut from template papers refined over decades, adapted specifically for each client's unique proportions. Cloth selection comes from mills like Scabal or Holland & Sherry, where Super 150 wool represents the finest fibers from specific sheep breeds. The construction involves felled seams, hand-padded lapels, and functional buttonholes, details requiring 15 hours of specialist hand sewing. 4 fittings ensure perfect drape and comfort, with adjustments made throughout the process as the suit develops its final form. The $12,000 investment yields clothing fitting so perfectly it feels weightless, lasting decades while maintaining its shape through countless wears. Rolls-Royce Phantom pricing reflects not just engineering but the promise of absolute reliability and comprehensive ownership experience. The company assigns dedicated specialists to each client, available 24 hours for any concern or question about the vehicle. The paint process involves hand sanding between 9 separate coats, creating depth and luminosity impossible with standard automotive finishing. The interior features leather from bulls raised in farms where barbed wire is prohibited, preventing scars that would mar the hides. A single dashboard requires 6 weeks to create, with wood veneers book-matched so grain patterns flow seamlessly across the entire surface. The $450,000 price includes lifetime access to service networks globally, concierge assistance, and the assurance that any issue will be resolved immediately regardless of location. Swiss watch complications from brands like Vacheron Constantin and Audemars Piguet push horology to its absolute limits. A perpetual calendar tracks day, date, month, and leap years without adjustment until 2100, using mechanical programming achieved through ingeniously arranged gears and levers. A minute repeater chimes the time on demand using hammers striking tuned gongs, requiring months of adjustment to achieve clear, harmonious tones. The tourbillon complication rotates the entire escapement mechanism to counteract gravity's effect on timekeeping accuracy, a solution invented in 1895 still relevant today. Watches combining multiple complications require 2 years to assemble, with movements containing over 600 components in spaces smaller than postage stamps. The $100,000 prices reflect not just current labor but centuries of accumulated knowledge, with techniques passed master to apprentice across generations. LA Prairie Skincare justifies extreme pricing through ingredient sourcing and research investment that mainstream cosmetics companies cannot match. Their caviar extracts come from specific sturgeon species, processed within hours of harvesting to preserve delicate peptides and proteins. The company maintains relationships with luxury caviar producers, purchasing materials that could alternatively sell for consumption at premium prices. Swiss apple stem cells used in their formulations come from a rare cultivar whose exceptional longevity properties required 20 years of research to understand and harness. A single jar of cream costing $800 contains compounds that cost more to produce than the finished product sells for, subsidized by other product lines. Clinical trials demonstrate measurable improvements in skin density and elasticity, results verified through university partnerships and peer-reviewed research. Baccarat crystal represents the pinnacle of glass production. Their chandeliers costing $50,000 reflect techniques requiring extraordinary skill. The crystal formula contains 24% lead oxide, creating exceptional clarity and light refraction while making the material extremely difficult to work. Each crystal prism gets hand-cut with diamond wheels, producing facets meeting at precise angles that maximize light dispersion and create the characteristic sparkle. The assembly of a large chandelier requires 3 master craftsmen working 2 months, individually wiring hundreds of crystals while ensuring perfect balance and symmetry. Baccarat maintains archives of every chandelier produced since 1764, able to recreate or repair pieces centuries old using original techniques. The investment in a major piece brings light sculpture that will outlive multiple generations, increasing in value as antique crystal becomes increasingly rare. Understanding these valuations requires recognizing that price reflects not just the object but the entire ecosystem supporting its creation. These brands maintain schools training next-generation artisans, subsidize traditional material sources threatened by industrial competition, and preserve techniques that would otherwise disappear. When you purchase a Birkin bag, you are not just buying leather and hardware but supporting an entire network of French ateliers keeping traditional leather working alive. The five-figure prices enable these brands to resist pressure for cost-cutting and efficiency improvements that would inevitably compromise quality. They can afford to reject materials not meeting their standards, restart work when details prove imperfect, and maintain standards independent of quarterly profit pressures. This creates value extending beyond the physical object, knowing you own something created without compromise, using methods proven across centuries. The resale markets for these brands demonstrate that prices are not artificially inflated. Pre-owned Patek Philippe watches often sell for more than their original retail price. Hermès bags maintain or increase in value, functioning as wearable investments that provide utility while appreciating financially. This proves that the market recognizes genuine worth, distinguishing these brands from fashion houses whose products become worthless once trends shift. The ultimate justification for extreme luxury pricing comes from understanding that true quality at this level cannot be replicated cheaply. No shortcut exists to hand-stitching, no machine replacement for experienced human judgment, no automation for the intuitive adjustments masters make throughout creation. These brands cost $10,000 and beyond because creating excellence at this level simply requires resources, time, and expertise that cannot be compressed or economized. The value proposition becomes clear when you calculate cost per use over decades, factor in emotional satisfaction, and recognize you are participating in preserving cultural heritage through your patronage.